I really have to say that I'm thankful that my son was a very smart student. He was very good in school. And when it came to things like homework, he didn't always need my help. When he would come home from school, he would know what he has to do. He would most of the time already know how to do it, and by the time my son started going to like first, second, third grade, they started doing things differently. They don't do math the way that we did it growing up. So I had to learn how they do their math, and he understood it. So he was trying to teach me, and I'm like, well, what happened to 1 + 1 = 2? You got to do this whole, formula to get to the answer now. And I'm like, why, you know? But he was very intelligent when it came to doing his homework and his schoolwork. He was a very, very smart. He was a very smart kid. So I didn't have to do too much with him. But when it came to like him having to do projects and things like that, that was kind of tough for me, because especially being in situations where he's got to do a science project, and I can't get to a big store where I can get all of these things that he needs for this science project. So I have to try to figure it out. Like when I was in Atlanta, when we were in Atlanta, I couldn't get to no stores. Only store that I had within walking distance is a grocery store and a Family Dollar, right? So when he had a science project, I'm like, well, where am I supposed to get all this stuff? What am I supposed to do? But I just had to make do with what we had. Like one time, Michael had this project where he had to do something about under the sea. Do something with. They gave him a shoe. Well, they didn't give him a shoebox. They said, use a shoebox and just do things inside the shoebox and outside the shoebox, however you do it, to show different things under the sea. This was his third grade project. So I'm like, okay, oh Lord. Then I believe he told me at the last minute. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I can't, because I'm not the type of parent that's just going to say, well, Michael, we couldn't get to the store to get the things that I would have liked to use for your project, so we're just not going to do it. No, I never taught him that there was excuses for not doing what you had to do or what you were supposed to do. So what I did was we took that shoebox, we went to Family Dollar, I got construction paper, crayons, markers, glue, whatever I needed, and we started to cut out these pictures of fish, sharks, different things that you see. We even used the green construction paper for the seaweed at the bottom of the sea. We cut that out and made that, like, and I'm just like, well, Michael, you did what you could, and I hope that your teacher will accept it, because we actually did a good job. We were actually up late. Michael went to sleep, and I was up till like maybe 3 o'clock in the morning finishing gluing on his stuff for his project, right? So then he took it to school, and when I went up to the school, because Michael was bad. Michael was bad in school all the way up until the fourth grade. I literally would have to go sit in the classroom with this man, because he's biting people, hitting people, and sometimes people would do stuff to him and he just had to retaliate. It don't matter if he was going to get in trouble or not. He didn't care. If somebody did something to him, he's getting them back. And so I was up at that school from preschool all the way up until the fourth grade, okay, with this man, because he don't know how to act, and he needs his parent to sit in the class with him to make sure that he don't get out of control with, and he a little something, tiny, little skinny boy over here with the biggest attitude, ready to fight, right? And he wasn't no joke. I don't know where he got that from, because I was quiet in school and I stayed to myself and people picked on me. But Michael didn't play. And so I had to literally stop him from pushing somebody down the stairs one day, because he did not, it's like he didn't care. this boy was messing with him. Now, granted, I saw the whole thing. The boy was messing with him now. He was messing with him. And Michael just got mad, and they were standing by the stairs. And he was about to attack the boy, and the boy would have fell down the stairs. I seen it coming, so I had to grab Michael like, no, what are you doing? You know? So Michael, he was, boy, Michael was bad. He was bad all the way up to the 4th grade. He didn't care. Looking at Michael today, you would never know. You'd be like, girl, you lying. Because he's so quiet to himself. He don't do nothing but play his video games and go to work. He don't do nothing. By the time he got to middle school, he had really toned down. And he wasn't, you know, I never got a phone call about Michael doing anything, you know. But when he was younger, Michael would get up after he get done doing his work. He'd get up and start going across the room, messing with people and talking. And child, I was up at that school, okay, all the time for the first 5 years of him going to school. That's preschool, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6 years. He's starting from preschool, okay? So yeah, that was tough. Thankfully, our schools were always close. Like his elementary school, I could walk to. You know, when we lived in Monroe. When we moved to Atlanta, his elementary school there, I could walk to. When we moved to North Carolina, when we moved back to Detroit from Atlanta, his elementary school, I could walk to. So it was always schools that I could walk to until he got to middle school. He had to start catching the bus, which was no problem because he was old enough to do that on his own. You know, go to the entrance of the complex, the bus pick you up, the bus gonna drop you off at the entrance of the complex, you walk yourself on back to the house. So that wasn't tough, but you know, yeah, Michael boy, he was something else in school in his little early days. But yeah, another thing too that I can say concerning my visual impairment, I didn't want people making fun of my son with me going in there with my glasses and my cane and stuff. So I would purposely not bring those things into the school because I didn't want him to get made fun of, because I used to get made fun of when I was little, when I was his age. So I didn't bring those things into school, and he never got made fun of because of his mom. People would always say something like, oh, yeah, I like your mom's hair, or I like your mom's shoes, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, I tried to hide my visual impairment, which I didn't do that just for his sake. I used to do that growing up. Like my whole life, I tried to hide it because I got bullied. I got made fun of. So even as an adult, being a visually impaired mom, I tried to hide it for the sake of my son too. And he never got picked on because of his mom. All the kids thought I was cool. So they felt like I was one of them. A lot of people thought I was his sister. But yeah, so not because I had him at too young of an age. I was 23 when I had him, but you know, I always looked younger than what I was. And I don't know if that's still the case now, being 44. I don't know if I still look younger than I am. But yeah, back then that was the case. So I used to try to hide that, y'all. Have anybody ever tried, I mean, if you're able to, have anybody ever tried to hide their disability for one reason or another? Just let me know in the comments. But yeah, I literally, I tried to hide that. And, you know, there was times where I had to, like, it was times where I feel like my son suffered because of me being legally blind. There was things that I wanted to do for him that I could not do, you know, and I felt bad about that. Like I felt not really like a failure because it wasn't my fault, but I literally just felt like, man, you know, I want to be able to do these things that other parents get to do for their kids. Like, I know my son likes sports. He wasn't really into it, like he didn't watch it on TV or nothing, but he had certain things that he liked. Like I remember when he was little, he told me he wanted to play soccer. And we didn't have a soccer team at the school that he went to or anything, so he couldn't play soccer. But, you know, by the time he got to middle school and we're living in North Carolina, there are sports teams and stuff that there were sports teams and things that he could get involved with, but he just never did. And one day I asked him, I said, Michael, how come you never got into any kind of sport? Like you could have played basketball, you could have played lacrosse. It was some things that he could have did even with his small frame, you know. And he told me, he said, well, I know that you always have a hard time getting us places. And so I didn't want to add to that. You know, he told me this when he was in high school because I just asked him, like, you know, how come you don't get involved in any sports or nothing? But yeah, he said, I just didn't want you to have to try to figure out how I was going to get to and from places all the time. So I just didn't get into certain things. And I felt so bad because he was right. You know, it was a struggle just getting to the grocery store. It was a struggle getting to my eye doctor appointments. It was a struggle just being able to do the normal things that people do when they get in their cars and drive. And when you're living in a place that don't have public transportation, which was my case in most of the time when I was living in these different places, you know, it's tough. It's really, really tough. Like, so I felt bad, you guys. I felt bad that he made the decision on his own to just not get into certain things because he didn't want me to be burdened with the responsibility of trying to get him to and from places after school, you know. And I'm like, oh, Michael, you know, you should have just got involved if you wanted to, and it would have been my responsibility to get you to and from. I would have figured it out, you know. Even if I had to try to reach out to somebody on the team and say, hey, you know, I'm legally blind and I can't drive my son to and from practices. Um, if you happen to live close to me, would you mind picking him up for practice? I'll pay you. You know what I'm saying? If that's what I had to do, I was willing to do that. But Michael, by this time, he was just so shy and so quiet. He would have never asked any of his friends for a ride. He would have just been looking crazy, looking at me. And I'm like, well, why don't you ask your friend if they can give you a ride home? He don't want to do that. So it's like some things he could have took into his own hands and said, hey, okay, I know this person on the basketball team. Let me see if I can get a ride home with him or whoever. Because a lot of the kids lived in the same complex that we lived in. We were very close to the school. So it wasn't close like walking distance close, but it was close. A lot of the kids in that complex went to that school. So it's like, shoot, he could have made friends and asked one of his friends, but he didn't want to do that. So that's what, it's not his fault, you know. I'm just saying, like, that would have helped. And then I could have enforced it by talking to the parents and just explaining the situation. And then me and the parents could have had like a rapport to where, okay, yeah, I pick Michael up and I drop him off and his mom paid me a little bit of money, or she don't pay me no money, or whatever the case may be. We could have worked it out. But I just felt bad that he felt he had to make the decision to not be a part of things because of me and my situation. So that really made me feel bad. But, you know, it was something else I wanted to say concerning school. But he still ended up going and getting involved in things like he was in ROTC because they didn't really have much going on after school. There were parts of ROTC that he could have joined that did things after school, but he didn't. You know, they got the drill team. He could have got into that. That's after school, but he just, you know, he was just fine with just being in ROTC during class. And then he was in like 2 different choirs. And I'm thankful that I was able to make it to, like, you know, his concerts, or if ROTC was doing something, I was able to get a ride there, even though it was tough, but I made it happen because I wanted to be a supportive parent. And so I did. I made it to everything that he had going on. I made it. Now, let's talk about when it came time for my son to drive. How did he learn how to drive if I wasn't there to teach him? I didn't have a car. I didn't have nothing to teach him to drive. So I just feel like a lot of times when I really needed somebody, God would put someone in place for me. I had a foster brother I have a foster brother who lives in North Carolina. He's a very busy man, so I didn't really get to talk to him often. But he made time to help teach Michael how to drive, because he knew that if Michael knew how to drive, he had his license and he had a car, that it would be a blessing for all of us. My brother was looking at it like, I won't have to depend on anybody else or try to see who can help me get here and there, because I have my son who knows how to drive. He's got his license and he's got a car. So my brother took time out of his busy schedule to come a couple times out the week to take Michael out driving. So that's how Michael ended up learning how to drive. And then I paid one of my neighbors for Michael, you know, because he had to go to driver's training a few times a week. And I had to pay her some money. I think it was like $20 a week to get him to and from. And she did that for me. And, you know, I would ride with her to go drop him off and pick him up. Like I said, I'm a very hands-on parent. I don't just put my son off on people. I'm very, very involved. So even in that, I went with her, drop him off, go with her to pick him up, and I paid her. So that's how he did his driver's training. And then, you know, I was able to get him to his driver's, to go get his license. And once he got his license, my brother had a car that he was willing to sell me for Michael to have something to drive. So that's how Michael learned how to drive, got his license, and got a car. So I'm thankful for that. When it came down to it, like, hey, I really, 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 really need, God always brought somebody in to help me. So I'm so grateful, y'all. It has been tough. It was tough. It is tough, especially when you're somebody who don't want to always have to depend on people. Can you help me? Can you take me? Can you do this? Can you do that? I try not to pull on people like that, because people got their own families. They got their own kids. Their kids are in sports. Their kids are doing things. And then on top of what they already got going on, here I come asking them to help with my son. And I just, you know what I'm saying? If I could help it, I don't want to ask too much, you know. So, but I wouldn't ask for help unless I really, really, really needed it. If I can walk to the place, I'll go. If I could catch the bus to the place, if there's public transportation, I'll go. You know what I'm saying? If I could get into a program where they would assign me a nurse or somebody who would be there to help get me where I need to go and things like that, and the Medicaid pays them, I'll do that. You know, I don't just want to pull on people. Oh, well, I'm visually impaired, so you should help me. I'm not like that. So yeah, growing up, you know, having a child that was growing up with me, and I'm legally blind, sometimes I just look back and I'd be like, I don't know how I don't know how I made it through this. I don't know how we made it through. I don't know how we were able to do this. It was God, really. And I'm not just trying to be all spiritual and everything, but that's really the truth. God just always made a way when there was no way. When I didn't have a way, God came through with a way. It was times where I had to pray and say, Lord, if it's meant for me to get to this eye doctor's appointment today, I really don't want to call and bother nobody. But if you could just send somebody to call me, I would greatly, it would be so appreciated. Then one day, then next thing you know, my sister calling me, hey girl, what you doing? I was just calling to check in, see if you need anything. Well, I need to go to the eye doctor tomorrow, and she like, oh, I could take you. That didn't happen. That's happened. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough. It's very tough. Like I said, I commend people who have a great support system. My husband, he had a great support system. Once we got married and I moved with him to Detroit from North Carolina, which we're both from Detroit, but I was living in North Carolina at the time. I moved back home to Detroit with him. His family was very supportive. If it's anywhere he needed to go, all he had to do was make a phone call. And somebody was going to come get him to take him. Or somebody was going to go get what he needed and bring it to him if they couldn't come get him to get it himself. Somebody was going to get him to the eye doctor. Somebody was going to get him to the grocery store. Like he has a very good support system. Like right now, if he wanted to go to Detroit, he got a nephew out here. That man gonna come over here and pick him up and take him to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And once he gets in Detroit, he can get anywhere he needs to go because he's got a support system there. So I'm thankful, because now his support system is extended to me. So yeah, God is good, but it was tough. It was tough. And even Tremaine, even with, me and Tremaine, we've been friends for like 19, 17, 18, 16 years, y'all. I think it was 15 years. Before we got married, we were best friends. And even in that, Tremaine was a good support system too. If there was anything Michael needed or I needed, if it was in his power to do it, he would help. If I was in Detroit and I needed a ride somewhere, he would call one of his family members and say, hey, can you take Santina to the airport? Can you pick Santina up from the airport? Whatever. They would do it. You know what I'm saying? So he was a very good support system too. If we needed anything, like say I'm in North Carolina and I need groceries, and Tremaine got this Walmart thing where he can, order groceries and they bring them to the door. But he just switches the address and puts in my address. And then, he puts my grocery list together. I send him what I need. Next thing you know, I got a Walmart order coming to my house where I don't even have to ask nobody to take me. So he was a very good support system, even though he was just my friend at the time. He's always been very supportive to me, So I have to include him in that as well. When it was time to buy Michael Christmas presents, he would go in with me to get Michael whatever he needed, or he'll buy something that he know Michael want. He'll buy it himself. Like, man, that man right there, y'all, he's the best friend anybody could ever ask for. And I'm just saying this like because he was my friend at the time. He was the best friend anyone could ever ask for. He used his resources to help me and Michael. He's always been like a good like father figure, godfather figure, however you want to put it. He was that for Michael. Before we got married. So I have had some good people in my life that have stepped in from time to time to help make me being a single parent easier. And even Michael's dad, his dad, even though we were not together or anything like that, anything Michael needs school clothes, Michael need this, Michael need that. Even though he was paying child support, he still put in, he would still send me money if I tell him Michael needs something. So, I had some pretty decent financial support with my son and even also for myself. So it wasn't just all bad, all terrible, all horrible. I've had some blessings too, being a single parent. I've had some people that were a tremendous blessing to me, and that were a tremendous blessing to my son as well. But yeah, just being a single parent on my own and having a child and being legally blind when I didn't have the support, it was hard. And there was a lot of time when I didn't have the support. But yeah, wherever I was in the world, it didn't matter. If Tremaine could help in some kind of way, he was doing it. So yeah, he the MVP for real. Like, he's the one. He's that guy. He looked out big time. He was way more resourceful than I was. So I appreciate that. But yeah, that's my story, you guys. And I'm thankful. My son, he grew up to be a good young man. He go to work. He helps us with things, helps us. He pay his rent. He helps us with the bills, whatever we need him to, you know, help us with financially and things like that. Now that we're going through this position with our finances, all we got to do is ask him and he'll give it. So I'm very thankful, very grateful. I asked him if he would do a video with me telling you guys what it was like being the child of a person who was legally blind. He said he would do it. I don't know when I'm going to get him to do it, but he said he would do it, and I'm going to hold him to that word because I really want him to express it. Y'all never really got to talk to Michael or see him talk to y'all on the camera, so we're going to try to make that happen. So I guess that's it, you guys. Please make sure to subscribe if you have not. Like this video. If you made it to this point of the video, please like the video. Send me your comments of what it was like being a single parent or being a single parent with a disability, whatever it is. Just go ahead and share your story in the comments. I would love to see your story and read it and respond to it and all that good, wonderful stuff. I thank you so much for all of your support. We are literally, I think, 18 people away from being to our 1,000 subscribers. So you guys, if you have not subscribed and you like our videos and you like this particular video, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Facebook, please go ahead and hit that follow button. Like the video, comment, as well as on TikTok. Y'all, we're going to get our TikTok subscribers up as well, our followers. So y'all just continue to support, and we see you and we thank you so much and we love y'all. So I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Love ya. Bye.